Welcome to this episode of Lead the Machine podcast, where today's leaders and tomorrow's talk about the human side of AI at work. I'm your host, Kirsten Marr, and today's guest brings the kind of energy that shifts the entire conversation around AI. Rob Cressy is an AI enablement coach who helps high performing leaders and teams build with AI as though they were in the top 1% of AI users. I cannot wait to hear more about how he does that. His coaching is rooted in a human first approach, leading with identity, vision, and values so you can build solutions that aren't just smart but truly aligned with how you want to operate in the world. Now, Rob's background is anything but typical. He started his career in digital ad sales, then made a bold leap to pursue a dream of talking about sports for a living. That led to founding Bacon Sports, launching multiple top ranked podcasts, including the Sports Marketing Huddle and the Sharp 600, and becoming a pioneer in the world of branded content and performance coaching. Today, he's the founder of Cressy Creating and co founder of We Are Unlimited, a global AI transformation group for entrepreneurs who want to lead, not follow, in the AI era. A perfect fit for Lead the Machine. Rob believes the future belongs to leaders who combine vision, heart, and AI fluency. And he is on a mission to help more of us become that kind of leader. You'll hear his perspective on how teams at every level can build AI into their workflows and turn mindset into performance strategy, and why we don't need to fear everything about AI, but rather let it amplify our greatness. So, Rob, a warm welcome to Lead the Machine. I'm really glad to have you on today.
Thank you very much. I'm super excited to be here.
Ed, so you started this part of your career journey by building a sports podcast, and then you transformed it into a marketing agency. How has that experience of very much building something in public where everyone is seeing it as it grows, how has that maybe influenced the way you now coach leaders to build AI capability? Because we're all doing this together all at the same time.
There's a quote a mentor said to me right at the very beginning of my entrepreneurial journey, like 15 years ago. And he said, Rob, if you ever hope to get paid to do what you love, you better be doing it already. So at the time, I wanted to get paid to talk about sports for a living. So I had to teach myself podcasting, audio, video editing, being on camera, social media marketing, brand building, all of the skills of someone who would eventually get paid to do it. And the superpower that this became for me is a lot of people will call it in the content world, love the idea of creating a podcast, but then create all the reasons why not. I don't have enough time. I don't know what I'm not doing. I don't have enough money. Where am I going to do this? So they see all of the limitations versus I saw all of the limitations as the way that I needed to go in order to get paid to do what I love. Therefore, when it comes to the AI era, once again, this is just a tool, but we want to leverage AI for growth. So by design, the more you use it, the better you're going to get. So a lot of people right now are sitting on the sidelines or they're just dabbling or under indexing their potential with it and talking about the fears, the judgments, and the self-limiting beliefs, the reasons why not. I specialize in being all in and creating the reasons why I should and do use the tools.
Yeah, interesting. And when you say I help people use AI to grow their business at any level, what do you really mean by that? And the second part of that question is, why is now the moment for executives to act?
Well, it's very simple. So for many of us, we've seen the study that MIT has shared about how 95% of
Hmm.
organizations who have integrated AI into what they're doing, they've seen no return whatsoever about this. AI is terrible. AI does not work. I see,
We're in the trough of disillusionment. That's where we are.
right. I see that. And immediately in looking at that article, I'm like, throw that into the trash. Why? Because by design, I'm going to take you to day one of me using ChatGPT. So I used ChatGPT the first week it came out, and we're actually recording this right now on almost the 3 year mark. So it might
Hmm.
actually have been
Yes.
today, 3 years ago, that I used ChatGPT for the first time. And it was day five. And within the first minute of using it, I felt like I used the internet for the first time. Immediately, I saw the next decade of business and I was all in. But I'm an entrepreneur who is bootstrapped, who started at zero. So I went from my corporate job making multiple six figures to $0 overnight. And I've had to figure this out and create my way every step of the way for 15 years in a row as a business owner. So, by design, the thing that I care about most is two words: business growth. So,
Hmm.
when I was using ChatGPT on day one, I'm like, cool, I've already put in the work for a long time. How do I turn a dollar into $1.50? AKA, how do I grow my business? I'm not saying I'm only doing this for a dollar, but it's a very simple way of framing this.
Hmm.
Because the reason I throw that study in the trash is if it said 95% of businesses didn't see any growth, whoa, they came from the wrong foundation. Because by design, I want to use it to grow. So early on in AI, and it's still the case right now, you'll hear things like AI and ChatGPT doesn't work. It told me George Washington went to the moon. And I was like, irrelevant. How is this helping me grow my business? Because my business is not based on if it George Washington went to the moon or not. This is build me marketing strategies. Here's my vision. Here's my goals. Here's my personal growth. Here's my mindset. All of these things.
Don't you think that some of that, hey, it gave a wrong answer to George Washington, is simply an excuse for people to say, I don't trust this. I'm worried about my own job. I don't know if I'm going to be relevant. I'm going to find all the reasons I shouldn't adopt this. I should resist this. It's wrong. That's
What
the adoption conundrum. I'm going to tell you, from data, predictive analytics, advanced just to AI, it's the same argument that we've seen from the birth of the internet and to the birth of the personal computer. I mean, everything. This is the argument that people have that limits them.
what I'm about to share could change the next decade of your business and your life, and it's what I get paid to talk on stage for.
Yeah.
And I hear you. And the key differentiator in everything is about the way that you think
Mhm.
about having a possibility mindset. The hole in the boat for most people is they treat it like Google or an answer engine. I
Mhm.
ask a question, it gives me an answer. If I don't like the answer, it's wrong. What
Yeah.
they fail to realize is that iteration is part of the design of how this works. So fundamentally, when I teach and coach, step one as part of this is what I call peeling the onion.
Yeah.
The first prompt is the start, not the end. But most people, if they don't like it, it's the AI's fault. But what they fail to realize: garbage in, garbage out, gold in, gold out. So if you don't like the response, guess whose fault it is? Yours, because you did not give it in a way where you liked this. And this is not about an absolute, this is about possibility.
And on that point of garbage in and garbage out, what I have seen over and over and over again is they don't is people don't say, "Oh, I didn't prompt it right." No, my company's data is garbage, so it's garbage in, garbage out. There's no way that you're giving me anything of value because I know what a mess my company's data is. And so it's not me, it's, something else.
Okay, so what is that word? What's that word I'm hearing? Ownership.
Yeah.
right? Welcome to High Performance 101.
Mhm.
So, when I'm talking and creating with anyone in AI, this is all around a standard of excellence. So, what I want everybody to do is to listen to the language from our entire conversation on the things that we, the high performers, are talking about, and then those the dissenters are talking about,
Mhm.
right? There's a big notice and difference right here, and this has nothing to do with AI. This talks about how we're seeing the game, how we're thinking about this, and then how we are speaking about this. One of the phrases that I love is abracadabra. I create as I speak, right? So, are you someone speaking in terms of possibility and vision? Or are you someone being like, let me tell you all the reasons why not? Because here is why this is an absolute superpower for me. If you don't like AI and you don't use it and you think it's trash, that's great for my business because I'm all in. So what I like to say is place your bets, let the chips fall where they may. And if you want to believe that it doesn't work, the data's trash or anything, then you're gonna have to make that bet. But what I believe in those the people that get down like I do, we see it as an opportunity, not an obligation,
Yeah.
right? Because you asked, Rob, why now?
Yeah.
You know why now? Because you know how many people have said, if I was only there when Facebook started, or YouTube started, or Google Ads started, I would have made so much money.
If I was
Why did
only there.
if I had only dot dot
Yeah.
dot?
Yeah.
Why was I all in within 1 minute? I immediately saw what the world was going to be like. And I was like, it felt like magic,
Mhm.
legitimately. I couldn't believe it was real. And at the time, it was $0. And I
Mhm.
was already a high performer coming into this. And I looked around and I'm like, you're telling me you're giving me this for $0? So I've always had the gift of being forward thinking, but this is one of those moments. And here's the simplest way to think about this. AI and ChatGPT is so good, it is better than the internet. And the internet is the greatest thing that I've ever seen in my life, and I have no idea how it works.
Yeah.
And this is like, hey, internet, you're kind of lame. Let me show you the good over here. And people are like, I don't got the time to learn that. It's only the greatest thing ever invented in the history of the world.
Let's talk about the conundrum that many leaders find themselves in because it is the trough of disillusionment right now. They cannot show up to a board meeting with ROI on their AI initiatives, oftentimes because it was overhyped and overpressured to do too fast. And so their rollout was reactive or performative, right? We can call it AI theater. And so, of course, you don't have results. So, if I'm a leader and I'm in that boat, and there's a lot of leaders in that boat right now, what, where do I move forward? What is a better path to building measurable impact, knowing that it also has to happen quickly because I don't have the benefit of investors saying, oh, we'll wait for 3 years.
There's a quote that I love, and I learned this from Ed Milet. The bigger the dreams, the deeper the foundation. So, could you build a house with no blueprints and no contractor and just say, go? Yes, you could build a house. Would the house be any good? No. But if you worked with a world class architect and contractor who was like, hey guys, the first thing that we need to do is build a solid foundation for this house because everything else is going to build on top of it. Do you think that that house would be better, higher quality, and done faster? Of course. Yeah, but that doesn't work for us right now. So the thing that I legitimately specialize in, and this has been a circuitous route over the 3 years, and I really learned this doing a keynote speech 3 months ago to 80 business owners who were at near zero of AI adoption.
Mhm.
And I'm used to speaking to high performers, CEOs, their teams, leaders, executives, right? I speak the language of high performance. And the event organizer said, Rob, I need you to like really dial this back to like the very beginning, like assume they know nothing. So I rolled in and I was like, hey guys, I'm not going to assume you know anything. So step one, download the Chat GPT app on your phone. Step two, make sure you do the paid version of Chat GPT. It's a non-negotiable. If you're in this room right now, you need to be on the paid version. It's $20 a month. It's a small price to pay to be the best, right? And then step three, I talked about personalization and adding in your custom instructions. And afterwards, this became the best speech I've ever given in my entire life. People were coming up to me being like, oh my God, Rob, I had no idea that you could do dot, dot, dot. And that's when the light bulb went off for me.
Hmm.
You know where the biggest opportunity in the market of AI is right now? The very beginning. Because so many people are at zero or dabbling and never actually built the foundation. But guess who can see the biggest and fastest growth? Those at the beginning who have the right guidance and foundation. So those people in the room could have gone on the rest of their life barely using ChatGPT, only the web version and the free version of it, treating it like Google and being like, I don't get what the hype is.
So
They
I
go
want,
to a conference and they get
yeah.
one speaker and it changes their life forever. So now move this into the executive level thing there. So did we focus on the fundamentals first? Because unromantically, if I was coaching somebody on this, this isn't an AI problem. This is a systems problem, AKA,
Yes.
what is our system for how we want to get the results? Because you're like, hey, we're shipping it too fast. I heard a lot of tech, right? I heard tech, tech, tech. And what I did not hear was foundation.
Yeah. And people, so I want to share a story that it is similar to what you said, and just and how powerful just a moment can sort of be, because executives, listen, there is no AI executive school that executives have gone to learn how to do this. They're figuring it out. But when you can give them a moment where they can touch, feel, and see it, they suddenly become more inspired, because you know that they're not sitting in the job of doing a lot. And so it can be a little abstract. So, uh, Valent Analytics, the company that I started out as the CMO and then became president of, we had a customer summit, and we were teaching. We were selling predictive analytics to insurance companies, and it was voodoo magic in the way that AI is seen as voodoo magic, and they weren't the users of the predictive scores. They were the buyers. So what we did at our conference was we ran a workshop at the very beginning. It was the very first session, and we set up a competition as though they were different companies in the room competing, and they were using the predictive analytics and then seeing if they won in like two or three rounds. It was a game changer in terms of like light bulbs going off. They suddenly saw, to exactly your point, the second you see it and can use it and have an experience with it, boy, is that a powerful way for executives to then understand, oh my gosh, I need to lean in and be brave enough to stand with my team and lead the change that needs to happen around this. So giving them that kind of experience is just so brilliant. One of the things I think you talk about in terms of them understanding what can be the efficiency of their team is, maybe you can explain for us how one person doubling their output can change all of the team economics, and what happens if you don't enable your team to do that.
Yeah, so I'll share a story, and this happened 3 weeks ago. I did a keynote speech in Chicago, and at the hotel, as I was leaving the next day, I was in an elevator with someone who was one of the attendees there. He's like, "Oh, Rob, I got to tell you this story. I've been using Chat GBT and I'm loving it, and I've legitimately doubled my output and saved half the time on things that it would normally take." And I was like, oh man, that's unbelievable. Well, what about the rest of the people in the organization? And he's like, yeah, I'm the only one. There's a lot of people who are resistant about it. And the biggest opportunity in the market right now for companies is building an AI first mentality and culture. Because what is more powerful? Zero people in an organization using AI, one person in an organization using AI, or all 10 people of the organization using AI. Because the guy in the elevator, let's say his value is $100 an hour, right? He immediately went from $100 an hour to $200 an hour in output by using ChatGPT. But the person next to him, who is also at $100 an hour, not only are they not using that, but that guy saved half the time. So that other employee is now 50% behind that person. So their $100 an hour is now worth
Producing
$50 an
50.
hour.
Wow.
So now one person is worth $200 an hour. The other person is outputting at only $50 an hour. So there's actually a 4-time difference just based on the one person. And I mentioned this to him. I was like, listen, you got to get everybody else on board with this because double, 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 double. And we think that there's not a cost for doing nothing. And the answer is it's a hidden cost of the invisible because the people who are not using it are going to slowly fall behind and not even realize it. Why are the customers not renewing? Why are we not winning their proposals? Why is things taking longer? Man, the friction, the things that we don't like. These are the little efficiencies, right? I call this stacking ones over zeros. One, 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 one. And the next thing you know, I'll even give you a perfect example of this. Literally 30 minutes before this call, I got off a call where I was coaching a team, and there's 5 people on the call. And the first time that we've talked, and one of the executives said to one of the people on there, hey, can you share with us one area of friction in your job that you do not like? And she goes, oh my God, we have to take these screenshots and I have to log them into this database. And then I got to do this manual data entry. And then I got to call them. And it takes so much time in my day and I dislike it. And then I was like, what would your life be if you didn't have to do that? And she goes, I'm legitimately excited with just you saying this.
Yeah.
Legitimately. And I was like, and this is only one thing, right? So now imagine she takes this thing that, let's say it's made an hour and a half a day. This thing she does not like. That's very manual. This to this to this to this, this to this to this
And no
over and over again.
value. No value of her
No value.
brain.
It's just part
Yeah.
of the process.
Yeah.
Where, what do we hear? Data, text, input. Data, text, input. Data, text, input. And if we use ChatGPT or an AI to solve that system and workflow, and then now all of a sudden she reclaims an hour and a half a day
Yeah.
every single day for the next 365 days. So this is what this actually looks like. So the homework was, hey, everybody, take 15 minutes, write down all of the things that are friction that you don't like, that are not working. And now we have our roadmap for what we're going to be leveraging AI to try and solve.
Well, and I'm sure as part of when you're doing that, there's this whole concept of, process engineering. And let's not use AI to automate a bad process. Let's take a look at these screenshots and say, first of all, do you need all that? Before we put AI around it, because AI can go everywhere and we're going to have to make some choices, let's make sure it's good process for AI, not bad process, right, for AI. So it gives you an opportunity to really look holistically at that as well.
100%, because maybe this person who is $100 an hour person, they're doing a $15 an hour task.
Yeah.
Business 101 might say, well, how about we just hire a part-time junior level person that we're paying $30 an hour to do this instead of that, freeing up 8 hours a week for the $100 an hour person. Well, we couldn't do that. That just makes too much sense. right? So this is actually
Yeah.
speaking to your we don't need AI because what if
Well,
it's really this is we're unromantic about it, right? AI can just be that conduit to say, hey, which of these options is better? It doesn't mean we have to solve everything with AI. We can, but maybe there's just a better answer.
maybe there's a better answer, and it can be, hey, a more, lower cost person can do that. Or it can also be, oh, we built this process because we didn't have good tech and we did a bunch of workarounds. And guess what? We actually shouldn't be doing any of those things anymore. And nobody at any dollar amount should be doing them because they were truly built as workarounds. And then workarounds become workarounds, become workarounds, and they just become codified and people don't even question it. They're like, oh, we can automate this. Well, do you even actually need it? Or did you build it up because you had no good solution? And so manual was the only way to move forward. And you can literally slash that and then put AI on the stuff that you actually still do need. These are the kinds of conversations, right, that I think AI can really like be a catalyst for inside companies.
Okay, so what is the hole in the boat of this? Of like, why is this normal to you and I and not everybody else?
Yeah.
You know why? Because you and I are exhibiting systems thinking
Mhm.
because systems scale. So there's a system in place that has inefficiencies, but it's the way we've always done
Mhm.
things, aka legacy. Side note, this can also be legacy companies, the whole food chain
Yeah.
all the way down to all of this, right? So that's one of the big problems is most people, and I know this because I wasn't this person, most people do not consider themselves systems people. So it's hard to solve a systems problem when you can't even see that it's a systems problem and or you understand that you can design this from a systems perspective itself. And I love how you talked about this and I want to give one of my favorite things in the world that'll change the life of anybody who's not doing this right now. Specific to what you're saying. So you and I are working together and we've got this problem right now and we're not sure if this system we've created it should even be a system, right?
Mhm.
So how in the world do we use AI, whether it's Chat GPT, Claude, Gemini, whatever you want to use? Here's the term and put this into your toolbox forever. What is the hidden and non-obvious?
Mhm.
So, one of my favorite ways of using AI is to see what I can't see, my blind spots. Because if this was obvious, I would already be doing it. So, AI understands things that we don't, or can see things that we don't because we're so in it. Whether it's the board telling us something, or we've just been doing the same thing every single day for years. So, you take the process step by step, you think into the AI and you say, here's what I'm seeing, here's what I don't like. There's a lot of friction. What is the hidden and non obvious? What am I not seeing in all of this with depth and commentary? And it
Mhm.
might go, what you don't realize is dot, dot, dot. As a high performer, there's more growth from our friction, challenges, and our blind spots than anything else.
Yeah.
And with AI, you can create with the invisible. All you need to do is say, I can't see it. Help me see what I'm not seeing.
Help me see what I'm not seeing. And and I'm going to poke a little bit on some of the very pricey consulting firms. Let's call them the McKinseys, the Bains of the world. That a lot of times CEOs will bring in and say, I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. Not every company can afford that stuff. And honestly, some of that, I think they're being held to task a little bit to be um, a little more actionable and less strategy is fine, but strategy without action, no one can really afford. And if it's going to take me a 10-point plan that's going to take me 5 or 6 years, there's no investors that have any patience for any of that. I think we can shortcut, and I think AI helps with this to talk more just about mindset. And if I flip the script on my mindset and I look for the hidden and unobvious, and I realize that this is just the nature of how things build up over time, and now I have a tool that can fix the right things and maybe help me get rid of the stuff I don't need anymore. You use the phrase possibility mindset. How do you think that can be a game changer for companies that need to move a lot more quickly and aren't going to pay the, many, many millions of dollars for a PowerPoint on strategy, but actually get it done and get it done now?
One of the books that changed my life was Mindset by Carol Dweck. And this is growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Growth mindset says, I can always make things better. I can always learn. I can always improve. Fixed mindset says, I am trapped in this situation right now. And I did not have a growth mindset my entire life. So once I learned that, I was like, whoa, you're telling me I can always make things better? Cool. So learning and integrating AI is just growth mindset 101 because you say, I'm starting at zero, but I can make this better. So, how do I make this better? The same way you learn how to ride a bike is the same way that you learn how to integrate AI by doing one thing. So, you get on your training wheels, and then you do your training wheels, and then you take your training wheels off, and you use it a little bit more, and then eventually a year later you're popping wheelies. And you said a word that I wanted to highlight that is the key to all of this: experience, right? Because so much of AI is what? Tech tools and theory, right? Most of us are not tech people. I don't relate to tech. I don't speak tech. It goes right over my head. Theory sounds good, but, and you said this, the goal of strategy is action, right? So if we are just living in strategy, AKA theory, we're not doing anything with this. But by design, one of my fundamentals that I've learned that I lead by, implement at the speed of instruction. The goal is not to play Chat GPT. The goal is to ship the work. So part of this possibility mindset is living in the world of what if. So now we are coming from ownership, possibility, and vision, right? Because when you live in what if this is possible? Cool. What do we say next? Well, what could that look like? So you say to AI, hey, we have this idea. Let's build the roadmap. But like you said, we're going to have a 10-point plan. It's going to have multiple years. And I know this from my own experience because anybody who's cooked really good inside of AI, you're like, oh my God, I'm so excited. This is so amazing. You're already living a full life, a full business, stuff all over the place. And then you look and you're like, holy smokes, this is going to take me like months in order to integrate. So once again, I'm going to go back to what you said. This is about your mindset and how you think about this. The only limit is ourselves when you understand that. And everything you need is already inside of you. So here's how I overcome this. And this is nice and simple. So you see this beautiful thing that's going to take you months and you're like, I don't got months. So your next thing becomes, hey, ChatGPT, give me the quick win. Not 3 months, right now. Within 1 hour, I want to ship something. Number 2, what is the low-hanging fruit? Right? There might just be some things there. Yeah, it's a giant plan. But what if we just start integrating a few things because we can't ever integrate everything? Number 3, give me a roadmap with phases. Right? So you got this big plan. Cool, let's chunk this thing down. And of course, you're speaking to the 10-point plan, but I'm showing the layers of the game. And then, of course, we say, and with all of this, what is the hidden and the non-obvious? Because this is just a way of creating, because this is nothing new. When you see possibility, you get excited about it. And one of the biggest skills you can learn and acquire in AI is thinking bigger, right? You can say, write me an email or build me a rocket ship to the moon. It can do all the same. But for so much of this, what I'm hearing is the subtext of what you're saying is it's like, Rob, we got to ship this stuff super fast. We can have big goals and dreams, but it's really actually not working because we didn't build a foundation for all of this. So now we're just stuck back here, not only at zero, but we're at negative because all this time and stuff didn't work. Versus, what's our foundation? How are we thinking about it? What's the layers? Happiness is a function of expectations, right? So when expectations are out of whack, our happiness is going to be as well. So when you come from a possibility mindset, you see possibilities and opportunities, not limitations and obligations.
And how do you bridge the gap? I think it's easier for executives, honestly, to see possibilities, um, and can be harder for individual contributors who are like, but this will take away my job. And how do you talk to teams about how to say, that's not what we're here to do. Here to see the art of the possible and how we all upskill, all up level, work yourself out of the job you have if AI can do more of it into the AI may replace a job or a role, but it doesn't replace humans. We are still important. How do you, because that can stop progress and make it very difficult to execute when I hear what my boss is saying. I hear he said it's not gonna, or she said it's not gonna take my job, but I actually don't believe them. This is gonna take my job. I'm no longer relevant. How do we deal with that fear factor to really truly embrace the art of the possible at all levels of a team?
So I'll break this down in a few different ways. I wrote down three words for you: culture, ownership, and performance.
Mhm.
This starts with why you want to build an AI first mentality into your culture. AI is not going to replace you. Someone using AI will replace you,
Yeah.
right? This is just a skill. This is just a tool. You don't got to use it. But I'm telling you, if you do not use it, what, 2x versus negative x,
Yeah.
right? So you will be replaced by the person who is And what is that? That's just performance 101. If
Mhm.
one person is getting something done in half the time as the other person, well, which one of those two people is going to stay? That's not about AI. That's just performance 101. But with this in mind, you then have to say, take ownership for your own path, right? So I get what you're saying, but are we coming from scarcity or are we coming from abundance
Yeah.
or possibility? Because all of this I relate to and I empathize with, and I completely don't relate to any of it.
At the
Why?
same time.
Because within the first minute of using ChatGPT, I was all in.
Yeah.
What did I see? Possibility. And you know why? I'll actually drill this down. I've actually never said this before.
Okay.
Why do I actually think this way? You know why? Because when I graduated college, I didn't have a job for a year and a half. I lived off my credit card. I was as dead broke as you could get. And I finally got my first job. I'm living in Cincinnati, Ohio. And I get a job at a Fifth Third Bank call center selling home equity loans in a cube farm, making $10 an hour with a computer with no internet. It was literally as far away from my dreams as I could possibly be. I woke up every single day and I hated my job in my life for years at a time. So now that I am 20 years past that, I am willing to do whatever it takes to never go back to what that was
That's
because I
amazing.
know what it was like to live by default. To where, and remember, I had a degree in marketing from a university. I had big dreams of working for an ad agency, and I'm in a call center in a cube farm like Peter from Office Space, and I hated it. So, what are you willing to do to create everything that you want in your life? You hear a little bit of a different passion and energy that I have versus the AI is going to take my job. Totally wrong way. Are we operating from vision or are we operating from scarcity?
Yeah. And I mean that's something that everyone has to be all in. There's a leadership component to that. There's also an individual contributor being a leader within, for themselves to say, I need to have more of a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. There are going to be people that have a fixed mindset that you just can't bring along. It is what it is. But for all of those who might be a little bit afraid but have the ability to have a growth mindset, lean in, lean in. And and if you're in a company that, can get there, because companies are on the same trajectory and have a range of behaviors like people. There are some of those very forward-leaning companies. There certainly are people companies that are never going to innovate, but most are in the middle. Most are in the middle. And so can you find your way in that company to help yourself and the company get further in the right direction? If yes, lean in. If not, go find your next best opportunity, and find a place where you can really thrive. What say you?
So here's how I describe this with my friends. So I lived in Chicago for 12 years. My friends and I, whether we are building companies, we're part of the startup community, or we're working for startups, right? So I've seen it, I've lived it every single day for 2 decades now. In the phraseology that I oftentimes use with my friends is this the right horse?
Yeah.
And so often than not, a friend of mine would get a new opportunity on close to an executive level with a startup that has raised Series A or Series B, or we're seeing, hey, or maybe they're almost wanting to go public, right? You're seeing somewhere in the where I'm going to cash out food chain. And usually around the 1 year mark, when I'm having these conversations with my friends of like what's going on, because you're playing a certain game when you're in this startup growth, these companies, the opportunities where you're going to go, right? And without a doubt, 100 times out of 100, when it is not the right horse, what is the problem? You go to the top. It is the
Mhm.
executives and the leadership, and you know in your gut. So what inevitably happens with the people that I know is they're in the job, and then 9 months in, they have not been given the opportunity that they were sold when they got the job. And all of a sudden, they're like, oh, yeah, the sales is all messed up. The CRO has no idea what he's doing. The CEO barely is like all of these, like you hear it over and over and over again. So you have to ask yourself, is this the right horse?
Mhm.
And the answer to this is also how I want you to think about AI. Be unromantic about it. I just see it as a tool for growth, possibility, creating impact. In the majority of the world, this is like speaking hieroglyphics to. And the reason I know this, and I know you know this too, is because of how many conversations we've had
Yeah.
with executives, companies, people who, what do we hear? A lot of talk and a lot of theory. What do we not hear? A lot of doing the work.
A lot, yeah, and doing it in a way that is progressing where you want to be. The other quote that I really like is change is slow until it's not. So you can think you're comfortable and you can think, oh, it's taking a long time. And then suddenly all of a sudden everything changes. So as we kind of think about what we've really shared today, I think some of the insights that I really like are mindset is at every level of an organization. But man, if you don't have it at the top, it's really hard. You're pulling on a rope. That's really tough. But if you do have it in your executive team, lean in and be part of that mindset change. Don't fight it. Um, some things just come down to not the tech, but bottom line performance, bottom line ability to move forward. Bottom line, are you going to use the tools available to you? And if you're not, you know what? A lot of other people will. And the importance of culture. And in my opinion, would love to know what you think as we kind of wrap and how you would summarize. But I think AI, because you now have the ability to know so much more than because the information is now just it's there. So a leader doesn't hold on to certain information, an individual contributor holds on to information, and that's how you get your security or your comfort. I'm sorry, people, that's over. Um, so as we think about the fact that knowledge is now, pervasive across all levels, it really allows the opportunity for different generations, different levels of organizations to learn from each other. These are things that make me excited about it. How would you wrap it up?
So I wrote down three words for what you said around the information and the security and the comfort. And you know where the comfort comes, which is going to be the ultimate separator and the number one thing no one wants to do, and it is structure and organization.
Hmm.
Why? So, for someone listening or watching right now, I want you to see the layers of this game of what we talked about, right? So, with all of this, system scale. All right, cool. So, in order for us to build an organization and a culture, it's all a series of systems and systems and systems as business 101. Cool. But right now, a lot of companies have disparate systems and information all over the place. So, when the information is all over the place, chaos doesn't scale, but
Yeah.
clarity scales, right? So, in an AI era that's moving faster, where there's more things being thrown at you than ever, the thing that is going to separate the people is structure and organization. Your ability to take the information, the systems and processes, the people, the learning, the foundation, the thinking, and then structure and organize it to where it is easily seen. There's accountability there.
Mhm.
There is transparency there.
Transparency.
Oh, and by the way, it's designed for action,
Yeah.
right? So simple scales. Therefore, let's design this to be simple by design. And that's what excites me because I can't deal with complexity because I'm the same guy who worked at a call center, right? Back in the day, it's like, yo, I need to make this thing simple and easy for me. And then once we have that answer, how are we structuring this and organizing this? No one wakes up in the morning and be like, oh my God, I can't wait to live in structure and organization. Except for the fact when you realize this is what high performance looks like.
Mhm.
Structure and organization means I don't have to worry about where things are because I know the entire thing is running like a machine.
Yeah.
And the good thing is we can leverage AI every step of the way to help us build that and aligned in a way with our vision. And if you're someone like me, I want to create positive impact in the world. Let's go. There has never been a better time to make your dreams and goals and vision happen than right now.
Well, what a great place to end this conversation. Thank you so much, Rob. I've really appreciated this dialogue. I am sure people are going to get benefit from this. As always, as I say to the audience, share in the comments what came up for you, what's relevant for you, your own examples or different points that you want to bring up. But, Rob, thank you again, and we will be talking again soon. So, until next time, everyone, we'll see you on Lead the Machine.